hope you can see it.
Yes, yes, we can see it. And what is happening now in the next hour or so, 45 minutes actually, is that we will have 9 speakers talking about different kinds of resources. You have the organizations listed here, and the order of speakers is Rosa Björk, Gizi, Anja, Andrea, and Mala, Maya, Beata, Lenka, BBM, and Jarmila at the end. So now you can stop sharing and I'll share my slides. And okay, this is the slide that I want to share in presenter view. And I would like to give the word to Rosa Björk Jonsdottir. She's going to talk about shuffling resources and book trade.
Okay. My name is Rosa, and I'm the project manager of Bókasafn Móðurmáls. It's the library that belongs to Móðurmál. I don't know how many of you know about the library, but the library is a library with foreign materials for kids and youth. We are the only library in Iceland that can offer great variety of foreign children's book, and it's our specialty in the Icelandic National Consortium of Library. The library was founded in 2016 and has been growing ever since. We can now offer materials in over 93 languages, and our collection is around 8,500 items. It's mainly books, but we also offer board games, puzzle, DVDs, all of the materials that we actually have in other languages. We don't offer ebooks, but we help our patrons to search for them if they ask. The largest languages that we offer are Italian, Czech, and Spanish, but we also offer books in minor languages like Frisian, Sami, or various indigenous languages, like the small languages of very, very strict nations. We don't keep books in Icelandic, except for bilingual text, and there are very few ones. How do we get our resources? The library is completely volunteering, running, and without funds. So we charge a very low membership fee, and I use that to buy books, especially in languages that are very much needed. Our main incomes of resources is donation of books, both second-hand and new ones, and that's over like 90% of our incomes. People give us books that they are not using anymore. Also, when they travel abroad, they often give us books as gifts. In some languages, I get overflowed with donation, and I always select what is useful for the library and redone the rest. And I do it mainly with this a change market. I get a position to go to a bigger library, like a public library of Reykjavik, and I have like opening that everybody can pick up books if they want to and give me other books that they don't need anymore. I go hunting for books in secondhand stores, especially when I'm traveling abroad, because it helps me find different treasures. Sometimes I order books online, in online bookshops, but there's a problem in Iceland. We got a big, what do you call it, fee? Sorry. It's a shipping fee. We have to pay a custom fee both for the goods as well as for shipping. So at the end, all books are very expensive when they arrive here.
3 minutes, Rosa.
Yes. Oh, sorry. I have to be very resourceful with our funds. So I normally just send purchases to my daughter in the Netherlands to skip custom fees and pay less and get more books. And otherwise, the library is just open to everybody who wants to be our patrons. Our patrons are the students and teachers of Móðurmál, interlibrary loan with every school and public library in Iceland, and just the direct patrons that come to us when it's open. And now have finished. If somebody wants more information, just email me.
Okay, we will definitely share contacts to all our Pecha Kucha speakers. Now I would like to invite Gizi to speak about Canva as a free resource for non-profits.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Hello, my name is Gizi Canizaro, and I represent FOHLC Network here in Eindhoven, the Netherlands. We are now entering our 5th year of activities, and we are currently all volunteer run. Many of you probably already know about Canva, but you might not know that there is a free professional version available for nonprofits. FOHLC Network is registered as a charitable nonprofit entity in the Netherlands, which makes us eligible to use a professional version of Canva that is free for nonprofits. We are thrilled about that because then we can use fancier images and templates. If you want to know whether your organization is eligible to use the free professional version for nonprofits, you can check the URL listed on this slide, which has detailed information for every country about which type of organizations qualify. This is not an official endorsement of Canva. We just want to tell you about the positive experience we have had, so your organizational team can decide whether you want to explore for yourselves this option with Canva or with any similar alternative that is out there. Next slide, please. Canva is, in our experience, a very powerful free tool for creating almost anything. There are instructional videos available for how to use it, but we've never needed to watch any of them because it's easy to use. And that's helpful because we are a small organization and we're not in a position to hire experts. For branding, we just follow our instincts, and this is what we do. Pick an icon, pick a color scheme, pick a font set, and then we're branded. We make things not only for FOHLC Network, but also for FOHLC Europe, and you are able in Canva to save settings for more than one brand. Next slide, please. This infographic shown on the left boils down a lot of information into one page. We created this with Canva. We have an English and Dutch version and also a Persian and Tamil version. If you would like to help FOHLC Network translate it into your language, just email us and let us know. The flyer shown in the middle advertises an event series in which the same book was read in 15 different languages here in Eindhoven. What's nice is that if you want to advertise via social media, Canva allows you to create things in just the shape you need for those platforms. So here you see we changed the size of a design. Note that if you are using Canva for nonprofits, you can have the program resize your designs, but if you're using the free version, then you cannot. On the right is another example of an event flyer. And although, of course, it's free using this program to create flyers, it's not free to print them. This is an example of a flyer we never printed. We just sent it to, it was invitation only. We just sent it to the people who were invited digitally. Last slide. This bookmark-shaped infographic on the left is about how to motivate children to do self-selected reading for pleasure in the home language. This infographic is available in English and Dutch, and also upon request, we had it translated into Bulgarian and Japanese. If
3 minutes.
4 more sentences. If you would like to help FOHLC Network translate the bookmark into your language, email us and let us know. 1 sentence, really, we have a banner, and you can see us standing very proudly next to our banner, which we designed in Canva. And finally, you can also make videos in Canva, and Renata showed an example of one that we created today to promote FOHLC Europe. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And our next speaker will be Anja Kijak, talking about Erasmus Plus student interns as temporary personnel. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Renata. Hello, everyone. So can I have the next slide immediately? Yes. So as many of you probably know, one of the challenges that many heritage language programs face is a lack of personnel, because many of our schools work on volunteer basis. So a solution to that problem are Erasmus Plus students, as they can come and work for your school for free, for you at least. And what people don't know is that any education-related organization can actually make use of this program, which is called a Higher Education Learning Agreement for Traineeship. And it is a contract which is signed between a sending university and the receiving organization, so your school. And however, it cannot be a government-related organization. So for example, schools that are embassy schools are not allowed to enter into this program. Of course, when the students come to your school, the work that they do must be relevant to their field, to the field of their study. and they can come either for 1 or 2 semesters. And actually the number of hours, working hours that they have to do is quite flexible. And Erasmus Plus program covers then their insurance and also a scholarship, which is, however, usually not sufficient for them to support themselves. So you must bear in mind that they probably will have to also do some additional work unless your organization is also able to pay them additionally for their work. But it is not obligatory, it is allowed. So you can do it, but you don't have to. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, you must sign a contract with the university, and in this contract, you as a receiving organization must outline a detailed program for the traineeship of the students, in which you have to specify the knowledge, the skills, and the competences that they are to acquire at the end of their traineeship. You also have to provide a monitoring and an evaluation plan, and appoint someone who will be a mentor to the students and will oversee the whole program. And at the end, you have to provide a final report evaluating everything. Next slide, please. And the examples of tasks performed by the students, at least at our school, but of course it's entirely up to you, were the following. They were at the beginning observing and assisting teachers with their lessons. Later on, they were conducting individual classes with pupils requiring more attention. They were helping with the preparation of teaching materials and with different cultural events at school. And they also helped on bigger projects, and we were very fortunate that they arrived at our school, for example, when we had to prepare a big collection of books for the local library, which required hours and hours of work. So we're very happy that we had them at that time. They also helped with the organization simply of everyday matters at school.
3 minutes, Anya.
Yes. 3 more sentences, and they followed the training available to the rest of the personnel. And also, if there was some time left, they also helped out at other organizations with which we were cooperating on common projects. And actually, our Erasmus Plus students helped with the organization of the first folk conference. So that was it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much. And the next one is Andrea and Mala with professionals in art, literature, and science as a resource. Go ahead.
Nice to be here. So I would like to present you our experience in engaging professionals in art, literature, and science as a resource for our work, as we are also a volunteer organization initiative. We also lack on personnel, and we begin to engage these people to help us in our activities. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
I have moved
so
it
what
to
happened?
what happened.
Why have? Okay, that's good. I didn't see it before, sorry. We really needed to innovate and diversify the input on heritage language, because we were making readings and theater, but somehow the bigger kids, they don't want to do this, and reading is not a thing for everybody. So we would like to change many activities, and it was one of the goals to use these new professionals. We get also offer from guests from Brazil and Portugal that were coming to Europe to present their work. So we have them for free. So I say they were on travel here and said, okay, we can organize something. And it was very good in this sense. And we, in the sense of the science ones, we have also identified professionals and researchers that speak Portuguese here, and we could use them, also could involve them in these activities, as also artists and writers that we didn't know before and that live in our community. 2 examples I bring over here are the programs that involve the skills and competences on artistic and linguistic ones and in science topics. The next one, please. So since 2014, we have been receiving artists, writers, and illustrators to bring their knowledge or their art in the sense, also books and materials, but they bring also different vocabulary to the kids and youth. They bring new visions of words also, and this brands and a new word for the youth and for the families, because we always make our meetings with families. So these singers, musicians, and storytellers come to present, make a one presentation or workshops. We organize also tours of these guests to other Portuguese-speaking initiatives, not just in Germany, but in Europe.
3 minutes, Andrea.
Okay, and that's the next one is about science, please. And especially in this science program was that we begin new cooperation with the Science and Technology Innovation Department of the Brazilian Embassy, and also with the scientific diaspora, because we are the scientific, another diaspora, and we get together two diasporas. And this program was very well, the kids loved it, also the youth. And the next one, just to finish, is what is necessary when we get these guests. It's very important to inform these guests about our goals and our voluntary work. We are not here to give them so much money, but we can, it's an exchange. Now we need to prepare them for a diversified public of children, youth, and their families. These publics have different levels of proficiency and knowledge in the heritage language. And it can be not financially not profitable, but it's wide publicity and promotion that we can offer them. And we ask for materials. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your presentation. And the next would be Volunteers Funds of Knowledge as a resource. That's Maya and Indu. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So we are a multilingual community language school hosted by York St John University in England, UK. Indu and I are school leads, so two academics with research and professional experience with family language policy and home heritage language classes provision. And this is an ongoing research interest for us. Our school offers interactive activity-based classes in languages other than English to children between ages 6 to 13. The classes are run by volunteers and underpinned by research such as translanguaging, so honoring and addressing all languages in the children's repertoire. We are not focused on instrumental goals like tests and don't have a prescribed curriculum, but rather want to support and empower multilingual children, celebrate multilingualism, and foster the love for learning languages. We also want our classes to reflect the plurilingual context the children find themselves in. Next slide, please. One key element of our community language school are our volunteers, who are students, parents, and other members of the public wanting to pass on their home heritage language or a language they are proficient at. There is generally a deficit view of volunteers in community language schools such as ours, especially when compared to language classes provision in mainstream schools. One often sees these volunteers as lacking in formal teacher training and qualifications and lacking in teacher experience. Next slide, please. However, our volunteers are rich in personal and informal knowledge and life experience and have other professional qualifications. This is referred to as funds of knowledge in research, and all of our volunteers draw from these funds of knowledge when running the classes, so from classroom management, as sources for content when making connections with the children, etc. Concretely, these funds of knowledge involve interpersonal skills such as being a parent of bilingual children, managing households, participating in music, theatre, arts and crafts activities, also knowledge about ways of learning and being a learner of a second or a foreign language, and of course, experience gained from being a part of a local community. So to conclude, our volunteers are students, language learners, parents, arts and crafts enthusiasts, and that is enough. They are our most valued resource. We see our role as school leads and researchers to provide support with contextualizing that knowledge even more and with learning how to adopt that knowledge for classroom use. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. And you're the only one so far who finished under 3 minutes deadline. Next one would be academia as a resource of expertise, teaching materials, and that's Beata. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Welcome from Warsaw. My name is Beata Jędryka. I'm from Warsaw University. In the one person is hidden 3 persons, teacher, researcher, and the president of big foundation that supports the many Polish schools abroad. And today I would like to show you my result of my research and my work and my team. For next slide, please, Renata. For over 20 years, my passion has been the heritage language, which is also the subject of my research. Before becoming an assistant professor at the University of Warsaw in Poland, I worked as a Polish language teacher in the United States at the Polish Saturday School in New Jersey. Unfortunately, this school was closed, but it was not my fault, but others. And I noticed that the language needs of my students were quite different from those I had worked with in Poland, because I also was a teacher in Poland. My research in the USA showed me that the teaching as a heritage language requires a different approach and methodological assumptions than teaching first a foreign language. Renata, next please, the slide. To achieve educational success, we need a special teaching materials prepared for the specific educational conditions and the language abilities the students, because Polish migrants in States, there's very, very old migrants groups, and we observe that the language skills generation by the generation are changed, so we still are talking about the language abilities of the students. That was the reason that I made the decision to start preparing textbooks, worksheets, and books that would use the results of linguist research. Solid language data is a very important, like in the math, and all this data show us, me and my team, which areas of language and language skills need to be developed. The materials I have been creating with my team at the University of Warsaw. Next slide, Renata, please. For Polish diaspora students since 2013 are based on the linguist research, and they allow us to design the teaching of Polish as a heritage language effectively, because in our team we have the not only linguists but also the speech therapists. Their experience very important, and the speech therapists are multilingual person. And each task that we prepared is tested on the selected group of students, and helping me determine if it has been well constructed, if students have any issues understanding the instructions, and if the task itself is useful in education. Thanks to my research and others, and thanks to the research and teaching grants, because I became a lot of grants for my research and my materials, we can prepare materials for grammar, as you saw,
3
for
minutes.
vocabulary development, reading 3 sentences, and listening comprehension. And you have to, what is important, all our papers are available for free. So you know that everything what is too difficult for foreigners, too easy for native speakers is perfect for heritage language speakers and learners. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. And then I would like to invite Lenka to talk about grants and other financial resources. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me. My name is Lenka Kanelia. I'm based in Greece, and I chair 3 non-for-profit organizations, but today I represent Czech Association, and we are going to talk about grants and other resources. Next slide, please. How to get funds for our organizations, projects, and activities is an everyday struggle for most of us, basically. Next. Here I listed 6 basic ideas. It's corporate sponsorship, fundraising events, grants, donations, crowdfunding, and Erasmus Plus funds. Next, please. Erasmus Plus opportunities are something that many nonprofits ignore, either because they think it's not for them or they think it's too complicated, but stay with me for a little while. Next. I chose 3 basic instances I believe suit us all the best. You go for job shadowing grants, which gives you the opportunity to send your staff to other organizations in different countries. to learn how they work and come back with inspiration, new skills, and knowledge. There is also the option of mobilities, either for adults or youth, where you can go for exchange stays. And the most important one, small-scale partnerships, which could give you the funds for specific activities and projects. Next. If you are based in European Union, you can apply. If not, check the guidelines to find out if you can participate or not. But who is it for? This is the beauty of it. It is for us, small-scale actors, newcomers, and less experienced organizations. This grant is a good starter. It has simpler administrative requirements compared to strategic or cooperation partnerships and shorter duration of the project. You only have to have 2 organizations. So if you pick another organization from a different state, here you go, you can apply. And if you want to involve more organizations, of course you can. There is no maximum number of participants, but if you are a first-time applicant, I strongly recommend to stay at 2, maximum 3 organizations for an easier communication amongst you and also for coordination of the grant and of the projects. And how much money can you get? The amount is set at a standard of 30 or 60,000 euros. It is fixed. You cannot apply for a different amount. Next one. Another funding option is crowdfunding. Here I listed for you some most known crowdfunding platforms. Go to their website to see the terms and conditions for your projects. Next. And of course, you can also go to companies and ask them to support you. Next, please. In this case, usually you need to provide something back. Branding and promotion for them at your events or communication materials, their logo somewhere, basically. So think it through and see what incentives you can offer to the potential sponsors. Next. Here we have donations. I think most of you are familiar with this. You can either ask for financial support from members or people for supporting your cause, or of course you can ask for goods or services, for example, venue or food for your event, or books for your library, Rosa, right? Next. Last but not least, we have fundraising events. Events you can charge people to get in, sell tickets for a raffle, or sell food or stuff you created. Next. So those were basically a few ideas for you, but do not be afraid to be creative and search for other opportunities and create your own mix, what suits you. So good luck to all of you, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. And the next to talk is BBM about global goals as a resource for curriculum development. BBM, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I am a Spanish teacher for the Modern Association of Bilingualism here in Iceland, but I'm also a former advocate for the Sustainable Developmental Goals with the Global School Programs. This is an initiative for the United Nations Sustainable Development Solution Networks. Next slide, please. Before I share with you some of the examples, let me tell you that when I have included SDGs in the classroom, I have be able to empower my students with the knowledge, skills, the values on sustainability, but also allow them to enhance awareness at all levels. It had enabled me to build lifelong learning policies, giving my students a voice to work together, adopting special tools, but also has helped me to ensure equity and justice in the classroom, especially helping my students and through the eyes of them that will be beneficial for all the people, because it must be inclusive. Next slide, please. So in my opinion, to tap into the resources with both local and international communities hasn't been difficult, especially because with the aid of the global school programs, it has been accessible. I have learned so much. I have found many resources. So the first example, hands-on approach, this is a peer mentoring activity that has been in collaboration across areas of expertise, inviting actives and professionals into the classroom and empower children to accomplish a task. So I have invited a young adult that have come into the classroom and have teach the children to make little men made out with reusable materials, cables, and soda cans. And the second example, these resources have been made also with professional design cases, such as we have attended an exhibition made by artists in 3 countries, Maine in the US, Sweden in Iceland, which through the eyes of these artists, they have shown examples of the nature, environment, and society, and children of my Spanish group have learned a lot. Next slide, please. In this third example, we have examples as working on a project, which is a very complete assignment. We must work with a local point of view because it's very important that sustainable development goals have been accomplished by taking individual steps. And also we have to keep in mind that we have to see what other communities are dealing with. So for instance, in the topic of climate change, children have been able to relearn and unlearn without shame. It is important that we work also with other experts because teachers might not be having the knowledge of all. And this will be beneficial, especially to tackle interdisciplinary approaches that will help us to accomplish or take the right path. And in the last example, we have done working in comparison about a standard of living in 2 countries, Norway versus Uganda. Taking this transversal approach that is important about adapting into the realities of the student using the daily lives as an enter point. So at the end, let me encourage you that it's very important to go beyond the national framework. That's a good idea, working with other partnerships, especially working with other countries, or maybe accomplish an Erasmus project. And also having educational freedom in the classroom is very important. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bibiam. That was great. Thank you. And you have a bibliography. And so I would like to close this pecha kucha for the moment. Stop sharing. Thank you very much, everyone who has taken part in presenting and listening, but in particular in presenting.